But listen, there's a reason that in Top Gun, Tom Cruise didn't walk everywhere.
He ran. Gabagool.
Wow.
They don't say that
like Tony Soprano.
Yeah, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
there he is.
When you have a faucet that is so short that you have to touch the edge of the sink to wash your hands.
yeah.
It drives me nuts.
You mean like the bathroom's here?
This was probably a $20,000 Land Cruiser versus our $3,000 Range Rover. And the light turned green. And I'm like, you know what? For the Queen! And
Let's go, jolly old boy.
Exactly, I hoisted the sails. And boy, did she move. 0 to 60, nearly 10 seconds. So I'm going to tell you a story. I was on this press launch of the Volkswagen Golf GTI in Virginia and West Virginia.
Wow.
Oh.
2 different states.
2 different states. And we were doing our videography by the Shenandoah River. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what the John Denver song's about.
Oh, you're right.
Sing it.
Shenandoah River.
That's the part.
That was
pretty good,
beautiful. That was
actually.
great.
Thank
yeah.
you. But then I went back to the PR folks who are from Virginia. I was like, guys, this is great, John Denver. And they're like, John Denver actually was not singing about West Virginia, even though the lyric is almost heaven, West Virginia.
Yeah.
Apparently he was singing about Western Virginia.
No. My whole
That's
life
crazy.
is a lie.
What?
I also forget about the state of Virginia, so.
Oh,
I guess
Western Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like Western Colorado.
Heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
But-
west part of
West
the state
Virginia.
of
No,
Virginia.
he's not.
I don't buy it.
I don't buy that either.
No.
Listen to this.
No.
Western Virginia.
No, absolutely
West
not.
Virginia. That's so much better.
Yeah.
It is.
No, I
Second
think they're
version.
just wrong.
3 separate people, though. Maybe they were just jealous
it.
of West Virginia because they were all
There's a
from
Virginian ploy.
Yeah.
Eastern
Yeah.
Virginia.
I think you're onto something.
I wonder if there's beef between the Virginias about that.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Virginia beef.
A whole beef we don't even know about out here in Colorado.
Totally.
Which is weird because we have a lot of beef in Colorado. There's a lot of cows
that's
out
true.
here.
It is
Right.
interesting. There's not a lot of other Western versions of the same state.
Yeah. that's
West
true.
Colorado.
That'd be Utah.
There's 2 Dakotas.
North and South.
But that's north and south.
There's North and
there's
South
no-
Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that we've told everybody that they already know,
States.
States.
welcome to Carish. I'm the car.
I'm car too.
I'm car. Yeah.
I'm the
car.
ish.
Although someone recently commented that I am a 90-year-old meme. You know that meme of man yells at cloud?
Can't say I do,
I don't
to be
think I do
honest.
either.
It's like an old man yelling at a cloud, get off my lawn kind of thing.
Okay.
That's me. And then they went on to say that as Carish progresses, I become more of the ish and Mary because more of the car.
Oh, wow.
You know,
That's kind of a compliment. when you think
I
about
am
it.
proud of a lot of the vocabulary that you've been saying. I'm like,
Thank you.
I'm
Like when I
did
said
you just say differential
or
Oh my
disconnect the
God.
front sway bar.
I was like, what?
She was talking about articulation when
I
we
was.
went over it the
Wow.
other day.
I was so proud.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think if Case and I went into like a field that we know nothing about, like, well,
So many things.
Like
there's
Anything other
cosmetology.
than cars.
cosmetology, good one.
Yeah.
If we went into cosmetology, do you think we would pick it up as fast as these two? I highly doubt it.
Well, she already
probably
had
not.
it, to be fair.
What, cosmetology?
No, she already had the car stuff.
Oh, that's true. I meant more Mary. I didn't want
Yeah.
to single Mary out, but I meant more Mary. Like, there's a lot to cosmetology. When I hear, like, Morgan and Mary talk about cosmetics, if you will,
Yeah.
there's a lot to it. There's
There's
face-
different shades. There's different like application methods. There are different like brands. There's
Toner?
You know what's a crazy torture device? is the eyelash.
eyelash curler.
Yeah,
you don't
could
feel
never,
it.
I could never use one
I
of
know,
those.
but it looks.
Never use
You only
one.
feel it
It
if you
looks
put
insane.
it right up against your your eyelid, and then
Which
if you.
you-
I always
press
thought it
too
would rip
hard.
all my eyelashes
It
out.
doesn't though. It just curls them.
Do you
I've
guys, do you
only
guys
ever
ever
used
get
those once or twice.
eyeliner in the eye?
Yeah, no, not anymore.
That's crazy. If I was tasked to put an eyeliner, it would just end up all in the eye.
Well, that's because you haven't learned.
But it takes a steady hand.
It does, but that takes practice.
It's more difficult to get them even.
Yeah, usually they're sisters, not
That's-
twins.
yeah,
and sometimes
that's-
they're distant cousins.
Right. Yeah.
And you're looking at the two shapes, and you're like, oh.
Usually one's going up and one's coming down. You just look like you got a saggy eye.
You could learn it. I think you two could learn the basics.
It's an
I
art.
don't think so.
It's an
There's
art.
a lot to it. Even like, what's the stuff that conceals stuff?
Concealer.
Concealer.
You're
like-
so close.
There's concealer, there's foundation, which do the same thing, but they're two different
Well,
things.
they're not the
Toner, right?
same thing.
toner.
That's the
goes
thing.
in a printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a
Toner or
Oh
type of
no.
makeup?
So this is how they feel you are at the beginning of working here.
Toner?
Yeah, that is a printer.
Doctor
thing, isn't it?
differential?
Dr. Differential, that's right. So I thought it'd be fun because we have very different opinions. To talk about what actually makes a car cool versus what makes a car uncool. And here's what made me think of this. I was talking to someone the other day, and they said a minivan could never be cool. Now, I think that's wrong.
I think that's wrong too.
And then I saw a short of a Honda Odyssey minivan that someone had turned into the Van Am. And it was a Smokey and the Bandits style minivan. And I
Nice.
was like, actually, kind of dig the Van Am.
Okay, so here's a question though. Is it genuinely cool or is it cool sarcastically?
Ooh.
I've seen genuinely
You know
cool
what I mean?
minivans. I saw there was a guy back in the day that had like a K-swapped van on cool wheels that he used to move his family around, but it also made like 1,000 horsepower.
Okay,
And
but
that
is
was
that
pretty
really
cool.
still a minivan? I think that's where I'm getting lost.
It's
You're
still
all like,
minivan
you're all
shaped.
like, oh well.
Well, it's still the same shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but if you're swapping everything out, has
Well,
it
you're not
lost its
swapping
heart?
out. You're not swapping out the shape of it. Maybe,
Yeah, it's still a van.
you know, yeah, like a crossover is a crossover
Yeah, but it has
because
cool
of the
big
way it is.
tires. Yeah, that's true.
You know, but a convertible is a convertible because it doesn't have a roof. So just because you switch out the tires and the engine and the transmission doesn't make it not a convertible anymore.
Well, that's true.
So here's an interesting question. Now, I'm going to take Mary's side for a second. I'm going to be the ish here.
Oh boy.
And this is going to get very theoretical. But what is it about the shape of a car that makes it cool versus uncool? Why is the square boxy minivan uncool, but you take the top off a car and give it 2 doors and it's all of a sudden cool?
Is there such thing as a convertible minivan?
No. There should be, though.
That
Okay,
could
well,
revolutionize
I'm
the
writing
car
that down.
industry.
Top Gear made one.
Well, just yesterday, we were talking about the e-wagon that we have with over 500,000 miles.
The Mercedes
The
wagon.
worst thing in the world.
And Mary was talking about how it looks kind of dumpy, and I mentioned that it looks kind of like it's wearing a diaper on the
Like
end.
a loaded diaper.
A loaded diaper. So it's something about that shape where there's no differential between the front and the rear, and it just kind of
Drops off.
it's just it's a dumpy diaper on the end.
Yeah.
So we're talking about our 1998 Mercedes E-Class station wagon.
W210.
W210 if you're a car
E320.
person. That's right.
1997
4MATIC.
from December.
I think we established it pretty good. Silver.
It has 4 eyes.
So what is it about that kind of swoopy design that makes it uncool? Because in theory, it like, why is it that a swoopy Ferrari is cool, but that isn't cool? Is it what it represents? Is it the actual
I think
design
swoopy
itself?
is too vague. I think it's the proportions.
The proportion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not just a wagon. Like an RS6 Avant is gorgeous.
Okay.
And that's a wagon. But this does not look like an RS6 Avant.
think it's about
Although I will
shapes.
say, non-car people, I feel like generally don't like station wagons.
And that they can be wrong.
I-
That's
we-
okay.
We should we pull up an RS6 Avant to see what Mary thinks?
Yeah, I would
if
love
it still
that.
looks diaperish.
Yeah, I like the name so far.
Yeah.
Oh,
Avant.
they're
Avant.
gorgeous.
Wait, is it Savant or an Avant?
Avant. No
Avant.
S.
Avant.
Okay, let me see here.
Well, so from,
okay.
we got to show it from the rear. There's a picture out there. Yeah.
But would you, if you just saw that on the road, would you be like,
That's a cool
dang,
car."
girl, that's a cool car?
I mean, if I saw that on the road, I
Ooh,
wouldn't think
Cole,
anything
that,
of
that
it.
green one, bottom left, with the yes.
I don't like how
correct.
low the side steps are.
That's so. But Mary brings up a good point here. Like 2-car people, I think that's kind of like a holy grail. But
Yeah.
to like an average person, that's not that cool.
Yeah.
Doesn't look cool.
Why is it cool? Is it cool because we know it has a 600 horsepower twin turbo V8 and
I
that's
think
cool
so.
to us?
Well, it's part of it.
Okay.
I also just think shapes are cool. Like I don't know why, but I think like human beings are just like if like something's sharp, it's cool. Like a shark is intimidating, but a beluga whale is not.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Like
So-
or if something has really round teeth, like a beluga whale, as
Things-
opposed to like pointy. It's I don't know why.
You know,
but that's like something in psychology that's kind of like
this is interesting though, because if you think of like an old 80s like hard body truck,
Okay.
hard square lines, looks awesome, but then you bring
C4
in like
Corvettes.
a new Hyundai Santa Fe and it looks freaking weird.
Yeah.
And that still has a whole bunch of hard lines and very square and boxy, but it just doesn't cut it. So both hard, square, boxy shapes, but
I
one
think the
just kind
Santa,
of
the
missed the
Santa
mark.
Fe is a little not cohesive enough. They like forgot to keep designing the back of the car.
Yeah, the back end was definitely forgotten about.
So we think as a group that more angular is typically cooler than more round.
I think so. I
Because
think
more round is
psychologically, I
call.
think
everything's
that's true.
like very eggy now.
Because think about classic Porsche 911s. Not sharp at all, but
That's a good
very
point.
pretty.
Or a Shelby Cobra. Not
yeah.
a lot of square.
Oh
True.
gosh, absolutely.
Not a straight edge on that car.
It's
So-
interesting.
But those are like sports cars though. Like so they're small, they're compact, they look fast.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
whereas a minivan is big and bubbly and like heavy and it doesn't look fast.
So maybe we're getting onto something here. A sports car needs to be swoopy, but a big utility vehicle needs to be boxy, like the G-Wagon.
Yeah, so there's something
yeah, I think
on
the
that.
G-Wagon combines both of those pretty well because even though it's big, it's like sharp.
It is interesting that like more quote unquote aggressive designs, more kind of square and angular, are typically viewed as more attractive than round. Now, the other way that I've heard designers describe this, and I really want to get your perspective, is that oftentimes those more squared off, edgy designs are considered more masculine, right? And the more curvaceous designs are more feminine. But it's interesting that as a group, and I think as most people in general, we are more attracted to the more masculine designs than the more feminine designs. Would you agree with that?
I think it depends on the car.
Okay.
Well, the Disco 5, for example. Everyone
good
seems
example.
to hate it because it went away from its classic big boxy design.
big
and
ol'
then
hard-boiled egg.
It went, curvy, which a lot of people will say is more feminine. You think of masculine, hard jawline, and then, women more curvy. And that is not the typical, Discovery shape. And that's one of the reasons why everyone
Do you think
started
that's done
hating these.
consciously? Like, are they like, oh, this is gonna be a man car. We're not gonna give it boobs.
Cars used to have boobs.
Did they?
They called them Dagmars.
Oh.
Okay.
That's true.
I don't think that was designed after a boob.
Okay, but
That's
pausing
what they
that
called
conversation.
them, though.
Like, I'm serious
yeah, look
though.
up, pull up.
Do you think that's
50s
like
car Dagmars?
like conscious, or do you think it's just like somebody subconsciously designing a car and they're like, well, we can't make it too curvy or else men won't buy them.
See, I think it went more so for aerodynamics.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, those are some Marilyn Monroe boobs.
yeah. It needs some. It
Well,
needs
so
some
I think
support.
Dagmar was the name of an actress who was similar to these cars in a
Is
way.
this true?
This is what I've been
That
told.
can't be real.
This is what I've been told by
Casey's
old
just
guys at
spreading
car shows. We might
misinformation.
need Cole to look this up.
Okay, but hold on.
Was Dagmar an
That
actress?
is not like I think guys would dig that car, and
Yeah,
that one's kind of
and it's
bubbly.
100%.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it's obviously not like a one size fits all. This
Yeah,
is the
what's-
It
reason
isn't.
why.
What's it named after? Oh, they would mimic artillery shells, they say.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what I
close
thought.
enough.
I thought it was based off of like space age weapons.
They were named after an
Actress
actress. Dagmar.
for
Yeah.
her curvaceous figure.
Blonde bombshell.
Blonde and bombshell in one sentence.
You said Marilyn
There we go.
Monroe.
I
A-
did, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of history.
That's crazy.
Cars used to have breasts.
So this is a big deal in. This is a big deal
So
in
car-ish.
Italy. Is like a lot of these designers. If you ever hear like a mobile designer talk about car, they model it after like curves.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so the classic one is kind of that Coke bottle shape, which is kind of designed after like a person's curves, right? And then the car that I think exemplifies that most is the C3 Corvette.
Yeah.
Yep.
For
Because that car
sure.
is designed after someone's
Absolutely.
curves,
She
right?
got some
Sure.
curves on that thing.
So if you look at like
100%.
the side profile, right, you've got like the smaller front hoop and
Yeah.
then the much larger rear hoop. Yeah.
Although I would first compare that to a Coke bottle before a woman's body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Fair
that's,
enough.
that's
Yeah.
what they used to.
Yeah, the Coke bottle design. Yeah.
That's what they would call it.
How
But
far back before you find the woman's body?
What was the Coke bottle?
the
based
Model
on?
T is based off of
So
No,
C3 Corvette kind of looks like a Coke bottle, which kind of looks like this, which kind of looks like this.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But no, I mean, first of all, my theory is that there's something, and I wish it wasn't true, but there's something kind of deeply uncool about practicality, right?
Yeah.
Which is why if you go down the spectrum, the least cool piece of transportation you can drive is a minivan, and honestly, the most cool is a motorcycle. I kind of think that the motorcycle is the most cool piece of transportation, but then if you look at it, right, what is slightly less cool than a motorcycle is a
Hoverboard.
No, God, that is the least cool thing I've ever heard. A 2-seat convertible, that's pretty close to a motorcycle,
Yeah.
right? Top off, 2 seats, and then a 4-seat convertible, and then like a 2-seat coupe. But like the less you have around you, the more cool it is.
God,
So
you're
then mopeds
right.
are.
But cyclists aren't cool.
Cyclists aren't cool. No. That's true.
I think that's just the skin tight outfits that
Yeah, maybe.
that negates any coolness.
And the little shoes that clip on.
And
Yeah.
walking is the least cool of it all.
No, I highly disagree.
Well, it's because you like trains in Europe. But
I also like walking in Europe. I think walking should be more readily available.
yeah, but listen, there's a reason that in Top Gun, Tom Cruise didn't walk everywhere.
He ran.
He ran.
He runs in a lot of his movies.
He
you gotta
does
admit.
run a lot, yeah.
So minivan
He
is to
does.
walking as running is to motorcycles.
Clear as
Yeah,
mud.
yeah, actually pretty close.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We
And
got-
Tom
we
Cruise
got-
is in there too
We
somehow.
got there in the end.
But you're onto something. Practicality versus cool is not really hand in hand.
So then why is that Audi cool?
Well, that's a good question. Probably because of its power.
You don't know its power just by looking at it though.
Well, I mean,
It's
you know
kind
which
of a
one it
deep
is, you
cut
do.
cool.
Yeah.
That's like cool if you're in the know.
right.
And there's something deeply cool, and I think that this is where I'm gonna lose Murray a little bit, where you take a practical shape like a station wagon and you make it fast like a sports car. That is deeply cool.
So what if they made a minivan like the RS6 Avant?
Well, yeah.
Like stock.
It would be
Is there
cooler
a
than a
limit?
regular minivan.
Right.
Why
but
would
would
they
it be
do that?
considered cool? Would it be a deep cut
would
like
still
like
look
how
like a
we
minivan.
like how we still like the RS6 Avant? It's a wagon where a lot of people don't like the wagon, but we know what it is, so it's cool. If we see, the Odyssey came out with some like 1,000 horsepower, performance minivan,
Some of
would
those
we be
VTEC
like, oh
Odysseys are
shit,
pretty
there's
fast.
that new Odyssey,
But we're not answering Mary's question. Why would that fundamentally cool? Is it because it looks slow and goes fast? There's this like category called sleepers.
Yeah.
Well, a car that looks slow and goes fast, and that is pretty cool. But why?
But
is
it's
that?
only cool once it's well known that it can do that.
But I think it's kind of cool because it's not well known. It's kind of like
The surprise factor.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause
Like-
most people write it off, but if you know, you know, and
If
so
you know, you know.
it makes you part of like a group, a club.
Okay, like if you're in the know.
Yeah.
like if you know Katy Perry's cool, you're in the know. I could have chosen anybody else.
Yeah,
Come on,
that was a
Micah.
That's pretty bad.
That was a miss.
That's pretty bad.
We gotta cut that.
Yeah. Don't let the world see.
Have you seen what she's been doing at her concerts?
No, I don't follow.
It's not great.
Are you
What
talking about
is
like the
she-
dancing?
The dancing
Yeah,
is
it's
not
pretty
great.
bad.
She has this one part of her show where she battles a giant like AC duct.
A what?
Have you seen this? An air conditioning duct. It's like a big floppy tube filled with smoke, and it flops around, and she like battles it.
For why?
For why is a good question.
I think space ruined her.
Yeah.
I think the 10 minutes in
Could
space
be.
really was the
No,
last
you have
straw.
to look up AC duct. Cole. It's more look up
AC.
tube.
We're definitely gonna get demonetized for this.
Duct tube.
But she like, yeah, that'll do it. That's the Instagram reel I'm thinking of. But she has like a fight with this like AC duct. There it is. You see it? It's
oh
like
yeah, sure is.
I mean,
Alright.
I will not say that I wouldn't be entertained by that.
I would be too.
Yeah, if I went to a concert and somebody starts fighting the AC physically, I'm watching.
I'm
intriguing.
lost. Yeah, I'm lost. Maybe not entertained.
How do
Yeah.
we get to this?
I usually end up here. But my point is like my point is if you take an uncool shape and then you make it really fast, it's kind of cool. You know?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
think so.
Yeah.
You ever like see like a really old man finish a marathon? Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But you like slow cars and you think those are cool. So defend that.
Well, am I on trial here? you understand
Welcome to being
this.
in my seat. Yeah. Let's attack Tommy.
Case is just smiling cheekily over there.
I like cars that make you smile. Those are my favorite kind of cars. And to be honest with
That's
you,
awesome.
I've never been very good at the cool thing. And I've actually, because I'm a bit of a contrarian, I typically push away from the cool thing, as I think a lot of people have recognized. But that's why I'm not really interested in Lamborghinis and Ferraris and that kind of thing. I would much rather have like that Fiat 500 because it's different and weird and it's just
it
like,
matches your soul.
yeah, it's weird and different. Exactly right. So I think that there's something interesting about that. And then I also like showing up in like a Fiat 500 in a group full of really fast cars. Because then if you have a group of really fast cars, it's like if you have a group of frat guys, is anybody really that cool?
No.
Yeah.
They're all Chads at the end
There's
of the day.
also something kind of like a lot of times, not that fast cars are inherently bad, but there's something like kind of combative about it. Like my car's faster than your car.
Yeah, well, what does this have?
Yeah, and it's like, who cares?
It's like
And if
it's like
you-
going back to kindergarten on the playground, like when the boys are like racing.
Yeah, like who can run the fastest?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, who cares? Tommy shows up in a Fiat and everyone smiles.
That's right. I'm
That's
7.
true.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's right. I dig a hole.
Tommy shows up on the playground and starts blowing bubbles.
I dig a hole in the dirt and stand in the dirt.
Yeah.
Why am I standing in a hole?
You're
Nobody
enjoying
knows.
yourself. That's the thing.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And I actually think, bringing it full circle, there is something inherently cool about Mary Ann Cole's RAV4.
Agreed.
Because that was a car, in case it's not on the same page, that was a car
It's an interesting take.
that was fat. That was the
That's
RS6
true. It
Avant
is-
of
it is.
2007.
It is a surprisingly quick car, actually.
Yes.
It's
peppy.
It's the world's
That's
fastest SUV when it came out.
objectively
Yeah. No.
I cannot believe that would be true.
It's not fast
No
enough.
one touches you on the highway. My favorite thing about driving that thing on the highway is when a big truck like thinks he's got like cojones, and I'm like, dude, good luck. And I'm always right. He
And
never
I'm-
catches me when I go. And I'm not saying it's wise or safe, but it's exhilarating.
This sounds like a video to me because I'd be very interested to do a roll race with your RAV4.
Not
against-
unless you're paying for the potential damage that it causes.
Yeah, it might. Yeah,
Between-
my truck versus Mary's RAV4.
Mary's RAV4 is pretty quick.
It's super quick.
I think you should do a standing race.
A standing race, I will lose.
There you go.
Yeah.
I vote Cole used Cole's car.
But you were saying, yeah,
But yours is more aerodynamic.
Cole wants a race.
Yeah, but mine has like 180,000 miles on it.
Mine has 270,000.
Mine has
shaping up to be a race.
542
Yeah,
You pull up in the E-Class.
in the E-Class wagon.
yeah. From 40 to pick a speed, I think I could win it.
But here's the interesting thing. So
Really?
we've proven,
Yeah.
I think
I don't
we
But-
may have even convinced Mary there that driving a car that looks slow but is fast is a cool thing.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh, good
Except,
point.
and this is one I cannot explain, except if it's an EV and then it's not cool.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I've said
Why?
this 1,000 times. They're soulless.
Soulless.
They're soulless.
Not Polly. Polly has a
Well,
soul.
you
Mary's Nissan Leaf is not soulless.
I think I've given her a soul.
But what is it about electric that is soulless, but gasoline has got character?
Gasoline
So
has-
for me, at least, with a gas car, it has a little bit of a rumble. You know, from the engine, you hear the exhaust, even the smells. I feel like it gives it more of a personality.
More of an experience.
Right. And with
It's like
the
it's
EV,
alive.
it's just yes, they're super fast, but they're just so boring.
But like, what did we do to get there?
Well, you know what it is? I think there's fundamentally something very human about gasoline engines, and that you fill them up with food, and then they work, and then they excrete.
How is that different than filling them up with electricity?
Because gasoline engines, first of all, they make farts. Which is true. And B, they're like inherently human in that sometimes they're cranky and they break. Sometimes they don't like to be cold. Sometimes they don't like to be hot. And like these are character flaws, but that's what adds a personality.
I actually think you're right. I think
First time ever.
I think there's something poetic about like a gas car versus an electric car because there's like you said, it's like a character flaw or a character trait, right? Like
Yeah.
the rumble, right? Like you love the low lope, right? Whereas in an electric car, it feels kind of more like you're battling a robot.
Yeah,
And
very
it's a
robotic.
little less mechanical and
It's
a
very
little less
computer.
like you don't see yourself as much in an electric car as you would in like a real car.
It's just not romantic, you know. If
Yeah.
you like
Yes.
paint a romantic scene of you and your partner driving along the coast in a sunset, if it's in Poly, it gets a little less romantic.
I'll give you that.
Right, right.
yeah, no.
It gets very practical if it's in Poly, but
Pacific Coast Highway, sun setting,
maybe not as like
two
if,
beautiful people,
Poly.
2025 Nissan Leaf S.
if you imagine like a postcard. Like a postcard of a place. Poly's not on that
No,
postcard.
The
it's
base
not sitting
model
out at
Nissan
Leaf.
Lookout Mountain.
But if it's me and Polly, maybe.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
true.
sometimes
We're gonna have to
You can
Photoshop you, make you extra big, so you really see
it's
ya.
just me.
So you just cover the car completely.
Yeah.
No, I
Go
mean,
down the coast
and
with
I would
Mary.
argue that's why old cars have more character than new cars.
Well, of course, they have history.
They have history, and they're even more problematic.
Yeah.
That's why Case and I like Land Rovers.
Cranky.
Nice.
Should we
Land
defy
Rovers.
that somehow?
No, because we've ruined Jen.
yeah,
Jen
a
might
little
be
bit.
buying a Land Rover.
We'll see.
So it'll be Case, myself, Jen. Mary's next.
Well, I liked Perry. I liked the Range Rover. I didn't like it as like a daily driver, but I would love to just own it.
Why wouldn't you want it as a daily driver?
Why wouldn't I?
Our 2001 Range Rover. Why not?
Well, I drove it for a week, and I mentioned this in the video that I did with it, was that it felt like I was the one physically moving the car down the road. Like, it felt like when I hit the gas, like it was my
Flintstoning it.
yeah, like it was my whole body weight. It felt like going down through my right thigh into the.
You'd hate to drive an 80 series Land Cruiser that it competed against.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
it's
Yeah.
true.
So just like the toil you have to go through driving that for far distances, at least.
Tommy won a drag race against a Land Cruiser in that Range Rover.
Yeah, I mean, there is...
In Perry, in the
In
P38?
Perry, I won a drag race, yeah. There was a guy... This made me so happy, because there was a guy in like a 1997 Land Cruiser that pulled up next to me at the stoplight, okay? And here's the thing about the car world, is everybody loves this 1997 Land Cruiser. It has like become God status. And everybody hates these Range Rovers. They're garbage, and they don't work, and the values reflect that. This was probably a $20,000 Land Cruiser versus our $3,000 Range Rover. And the light turned green, and I'm like, you know what? For the Queen! And
Let's go, jolly old boy.
Exactly,
And
I
then you just go.
hoisted the sails, and boy did she move. 0 to 60, nearly 10 seconds, but I just roasted him.
But Perry
awesome.
had like personality,
Perry's
yeah.
got personality.
right? Like I agree that it's important for a car to like, kind of talk back to you a little bit.
That
Yeah.
10 seconds was probably more fun than 3 seconds in an EV.
Exactly.
right.
That's a
Right.
good point.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
more
'Cause
stressful
you
as
feel
well.
More stressful, yeah.
You feel a part of something as opposed to something that you're just witnessing.
You're
That's
just
right.
a part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that 2001 Range Rover has more character than your car, your RAV4?
Well, I think that's an unfair comparison because I think they're different people. I think Perry is like the cool guy you meet at a party who's like, dude, we should totally hang out, and then like gives you like one of these, and then you don't,
a shotgun?
and then you don't see him again, or if you do see him, he's like,
He goes
do
to
I
you.
know you? Whereas
Dang.
Perry's an
He's not a nice guy.
Whereas your Toyota is...
her name's Bobby. Whereas Bobby is like somebody you meet at a party and then later she's one of your bridesmaids. Like she sticks with you, you know? And I don't think that I worry about my Rav because she's pretty old, but she is reliable. She's just seen a lot of road, a lot of wear and tear on her. But I do think she has personality.
I think she's gonna... I think my prediction, she's at what, 180,000 miles?
182. Yeah.
That's a 240,000 mile car.
Well, and
She's just a
I mean,
babe.
she's been taken really
Yeah,
good
it's
care
fine.
of. Yeah. So I think it'll be okay. She's
Yeah.
got the best tires ever on her.
Michelin Cross Climate 2s, baby. All weather, so nice.
Sounds like we're sponsored here. Paying us nothing.
Yeah,
We
but
are
they
sponsored
could.
by the 2007 RAV4.
That's
of
right, our
course.
official RAV4. So we've determined that less seats, cooler, right? Obviously. Because closer to motorcycle.
Weird.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
Proximity to motorcycle equals cool.
Also,
Unless
unless
Wait, I
it's
actually have a thing.
smaller than a motorcycle.
True.
But
Like
I
a little
love a
motorbike.
good Vespa, though.
is that cool though?
I
don't-
love a good Vespa. But it doesn't have
depends.
to be cool for everybody, but it's cool for me.
I think it's cool for like in a stylish, like Italian person.
putting around.
But like if I roll up on a Vespa, you guys would be like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
okay,
I think it was awesome.
thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if that would be shared across the table.
What were you gonna say, Mary?
I think this thought just came to me. Is that the two-seater or the motorcycle are considered to be cooler or more coveted because they're more like exclusive. Like only two people can sit in there.
Not a whole lot of people are gravitating towards those.
Yeah. Whereas like a minivan, you're like, yeah, I can seat your 8 children. And
It's
Two
also-
available.
yeah. Where it's just kind of like,
Good point.
You know, it's like way more like, yeah, that's not exclusive. That's just convenient.
You know what it also is, and this kind of ties it full circle. It's a luxury good being able to own a two-seater.
True.
It's kind of like a designer handbag or like a really
Yes.
fancy watch. They're
Yeah.
small and they don't hold a lot of stuff, so obviously you can't use it all the time.
Yeah.
So if you own a two-seater motorcycle, it kind of is an indication that, well, you likely have another car.
Yep.
Which in some ways is an indication of wealth and being well off.
Yeah, I
Would
don't
you
think
agree with
I don't
that?
think I've ever looked at someone riding a motorcycle and been like, "What's your real car?" I think in my head everybody has one car, and I know that that's not how it works. But like
Sure.
whatever you're driving on the road, that's what you own.
So you
I have 3
That's what
cars
you-
parked
that's
in my
your
house
outfit.
right now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
your whole year's outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're like a cartoon character who never changes clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think that there is some of that, like a Prada handbag, right? You're not going to use every day.
But it's also the exclusivity of it. Not everybody has one.
That's right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a C4 Corvette.
Right.
They
Not
should.
everyone can handle it. Obviously.
245
I
horsepower.
would vouch. I think the C4 Corvette's cool, but I think it goes a little too
Thank you.
far with the sharpness.
Too shark-like.
Yeah,
even.
too shark-like even.
So then therefore by exclusivity, the coolest car you can drive is a 1904 curved dash Oldsmobile. Pull this thing up, Cole.
Oh, gosh.
It's part of trivia today.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No way. The 1904 curved dash Oldsmobile, exclusive 2 seats. You don't see a lot of them, and it indicates you are wealthy.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean,
That
is pretty
screams
exclusive.
wealth.
Guys, we
It
figured
does.
it out.
I actually love
Incredible.
that.
Crazy thing is, you can pick one of those bad boys up for less than the price of an average new car.
That looks like they ripped apart one of the sofas, like in your grandpa's posh house.
It looks
Stuck in
especially cool with the top up. That's
Yeah.
a that's a
Wow.
good looking
Kind
car.
of looks like a carriage.
Well, it basically is a
Yeah.
carriage.
It's got lanterns on it.
Okay, you know what's crazy though? You know how like everybody drove a horse and carriage back in the day?
What was a cool horse and carriage?
Well, no, that's not what I was gonna say.
Also
I would say like
interesting.
now,
Clydesdales.
if you see someone like Jen and I were in Savannah not too long ago.
Savannah.
Savannah.
Yes, correct.
Thanks for clarifying.
And we saw a bunch of people like taking tours in like horse-drawn carriages. And so now it's like if you can afford a horse-drawn carriage tour, now you're the wealthy
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Whereas like back in the day, everybody had one of those. That was considered commonplace.
Same with like if you were super pale back in the day, that was a sign of wealth because you're not outside working. And now if you're super tan, it's a sign of wealth because you don't have to work and you just go play outside.
Phew, gosh, guys, we are really tackling some. Same thing with records.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Record player's cool. Interesting. So what Mary's saying is the coolest car you can drive is a horse.
Horse-drawn carriage.
Horse-drawn carriage.
I think the coolest car you can drive is whatever car you have a dog in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
yeah,
really
yeah.
full circle.
Because I think normal people don't look at a car and they're like, that's a cool person. But if you've got like a pretty dog,
That's true. You're
dog
like, oh,
in
I bet they're
general.
cool. They have a dog.
yeah, how could they
Yeah.
not be
The
cool?
pups.
Right.
So you're saying put a dog in any car and it's the coolest car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Problem solved.
Problem
Or
solved.
you're at least perceived as a cool person. It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily make your car cool. It just makes you look less anti-cool for driving an uncool car. Should I say that again?
You nailed it.
Yeah,
I think we got
kinda
it.
follow.
We got
I mean,
it.
you know.
We got it.
That's great. It's great news.
And speaking of that, nothing related because I'm not good with transitions. But Jen came up to me today, and also you and also Case, so really all 4 of us, and said that she refuses to go to a food establishment now called Dutch Bros.
Can't go.
And please explain the Dutch Bros experience.
Okay.
Spell it out.
So you drive up.
It's
It's
a
like
coffee
it's a
place.
coffee place, you know. And I swear, they think that they're going to get all the tips by having like the longest conversations with you. And it typically takes forever for you to get your drink. So while I'm waiting for my drink and I have somewhere to be, they're just hanging half their body out the window, asking me a million questions. And I'm thinking, you could probably go help make said drink, and then I could get out of here. And then this line isn't going to be wrapped around the building.
Yeah, they always have insane lines.
Yeah, so they're like, so, like, how you doing today? And I want to be like, my dog died. Like, don't talk to me. You know what I mean? I feel awful about it, but I, like, can't go there anymore because I can't handle, like, the chit-chat, the small talk.
Well, first
Drives
things
me
first,
nuts.
they are the most enthusiastic, bubbly people you'll ever meet.
I'm pretty
Can't
sure
handle
their
it.
hiring is like a vetting process.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're always the same. Like you roll up, it's kind of like interacting with me, which is not a good thing. You're like, hey, how's it going? Great. Be like, what can I do to make your day better today? It's kind of
You'd be a hit at Dutch Bros.
Yeah, you know
Unfortunately, multiple
Yeah.
people have told me
But
that.
I would never go there.
Jen would never want to see me at Dutch Bros. And then they just make really great conversation. They just want to talk. They care about you,
No,
Jen.
they don't.
They
don't care.
do.
Because
Some
they're
of
having,
them
this,
do.
they're
I
having
think
the
they
same
do.
conversation with everybody
I
else.
disagree. I think that they tailor the conversation to the person.
They're having the conversation while they're pushing the tip jar towards you. That's
Jen,
what they're doing.
that's
I'm telling you, it's all for tips.
Pretty cynical.
That is
I
diabolical.
will give you a tip
Super
if you
cynical.
stop talking to me.
If you stop talking.
I would
Wow.
argue they don't care about tips at Dutch Bros.
You know what? Okay, that's definitely not true.
Yeah.
They're not there for the
I
money.
always see tip jars.
Here's what I would say. I think what the Dutch Bro employees lack is discernment. Because I think sometimes, when I worked in food service, and I would see a lot of people in an hour, similar to Dutch Bros, and I could always tell if somebody was like, "That's what I want," and then they would stop talking. I'd be like, "That person does not want to chat with
Yeah.
me." But if someone comes in and they're like, "Oh my god, I love your shirt," I'll be like, "Thanks." Target,
Now
$7.
it's on. Yeah.
And then I'll be like, "Where'd you get that?" Or "How you doing today?" Or "What's the day been like for you?" And you can tell immediately if somebody is wanting to talk to you or not. And if they're not, just don't.
See, Dutch Bros doesn't do that.
The problem is, though,
They're
Mary,
they're gonna pry it out of you.
Yeah, they will. Or they'll just make it so painfully awkward for both of you.
I think you're exactly right, actually. I mean, there is no discernment. But if Jen pulled into my coffee shop, Jen, not with this particular face, but with her typical face,
With her sweet face.
I would want to talk to her. She seems like she
Yeah.
wants to talk to me. You just have a very talkable
That's true,
face.
actually,
I'm
because
gonna
you're
start-
very good at conversation.
I'm gonna start rolling up the window. I'm just gonna.
Jen-
end the
I have a
conversation.
challenge for you, Jen. I have a challenge. We'll go together. I'm challenge you to be boring. I challenge you to roll the window
it's
down.
so hard.
And that somebody says, "Hey, how's your day going?" Good.
Oh, it's so hard because I'm a people pleaser.
So
I'm
you're the
just like-
problem.
So
You're the problem.
I think
Jen.
it's a two-way street.
I don't want them to talk to me, but when they're talking to me, I'm just like, yeah, I'll talk back, but I don't
Pretend to
want
get a phone call.
That's a good idea.
That's
Yeah.
rude.
Pretending to get a
well,
phone call is not rude.
That's avoiding
Who does that
the
harm?
rudeness.
Yes.
It hurt
Yeah.
because it's like if someone...
It's a white lie. It's
They don't
Guys,
know it's real.
This is brutal because that person thinks you got a real phone call, and then it tells you whoever is on that phone is more important than
You
the person.
don't know
serving
this
it.
100%.
person.
Yeah, they're just chatting with me. They're not important.
Yeah, but that's like a lot of places you'll see.
Are you one of the Dutch Bros? Are you the Dutch
No,
Bro?
guys.
He hires all the Dutch people.
I just
He's
like
being paid by Big
one
Coffee.
of my pet peeves is when people are ordering something and they're on the phone
Yeah, that's annoying.
because that's what you are literally simulating.
But now I've already ordered, and now I'm just waiting at the
No, okay,
counter,
here, tell
and
me.
now all they're doing is just talking to me.
Be
That's
a
their
Dutch
whole
Bro
job.
employee.
Okay.
I'll be Jen.
Okay, I'll slide the window open. Ready?
Okay, yeah.
Hey, how's it
Hi,
going?
It's good.
Great. You look like you are having just a great Tuesday.
Well, it's a regular Tuesday.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
wrong? What's happening?
No, nothing's One sec. Hold on. Sorry. Can I talk to you in a second?
No, you can't. You have to talk to me.
Hi, Mom. That's terrible news.
Leave. But that's rude.
That was a perfect
Mary.
interaction, actually.
That's rude.
no,
'Cause then
it's
you're being-
not.
You are.
No, it's not.
Because that phone call is more important than
Because
the person standing right in front of you.
Your job, I'm sorry, does not need to exist. Oh my God. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Whoa!
All you're doing is standing there and chatting with people. And there's a huge line. Wouldn't you think, oh, maybe we can use 2 extra hands to make these drinks?
And you could replace that system with a touchscreen like they have.
Oh my God,
at
guys.
Bird Call.
Okay, no. I'm 100% with Tommy on the touchscreen ordering. I hate that stuff because I want to interact with somebody. If I what if I have questions?
Yes.
What if I'm
Or you want to customize something.
sometimes something I do
Well,
at
that's what
restaurants?
The touchscreen allows you
Yeah,
to
but you have to
customize.
find
it.
I
It's such a
love
pain
the
in the butt.
touchscreen.
you have to find
Oh
it.
yeah, we're
This is-
touchscreen folks.
This is my
We're
favorite thing.
touchscreen
Yeah,
folks, yeah.
Ew, we should high five too.
Ew.
Something I like to do at restaurants is I'm like, hey man, I'm really stuck between these 2 options. Which one's your favorite?
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, well, I love this one because I'm like, sold, do it. And then, to Tommy's point, I make that person feel important because I took their advice instead of being like, dear touchscreen, what is the most popular item for me? You can't even do that.
You know what I've realized? I'm an introvert, 100%.
Do you realize just now?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I was always wishy-washy, but it's nah.
You know where this
Less
road
interaction
leads?
is better.
This road leads to automated customer service. That's exactly what this
I
is.
don't like that.
Because
Those are two different things.
no, your job is as a person who's taking an order, you're in customer service.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're automating customer service. And regardless of how you look at it,
But there's still people that work at the restaurant. For the record, we're talking about a chicken restaurant that's around us called Bird Call,
Yes.
where you order your food on a screen, and it's great. And if you
is
need to
efficient.
ask a question,
You can.
yeah, there's someone right behind the counter.
You
You
still
can be
can.
like, yo, or
They're not
howdy.
like, no.
Yeah,
of all-
they're like, you can't talk to me. That's why the screen's there. You got to talk to the screen.
I disagree completely. I go into a chicken place, right? You know what I want? A chicken sandwich. Hey, I'd like a chicken sandwich. Great, that'll be $4. The interaction is I order the food, you take my money, right? And maybe there's a little conversation
That
in
is
there.
still
to Jen's
how
point.
it works, though.
No, it isn't. Because
Not
then
with the screen.
With the screen, I have to find the chicken sandwich. And there's 4 different types, right? And then you select chicken sandwich.
And then you look like a derp because the guy behind you is watching you try to find the chicken.
exactly. And then it's like, oh, would you like a drink? And you're like, yes. What kind of drink? 900
Yeah,
options.
that's a good point.
Then you gotta find the drink option you want, select it. Oh, I wanted French fries. Then
This
what
guy.
do? Oh, I gotta go to my cart, delete it. Actually, I did want to. It's just why? How is it a better experience?
So I have a
How do
question.
you use an iPhone?
Rarely.
I'm amazed.
Yeah.
Tommy has like a rotary dial. Tommy's got a switchboard at his house that he
Hello,
sticks
operator.
pins into. Operator,
So I have
could
a
you please
question.
connect
Yeah.
me?
When you go to Target,
Yes.
do you do self-checkout?
If the line is short, I will. But if it's shorter to go to a person, I will go to a person.
Okay.
But I would argue with that, I'm not making a selection. I've already made my selection, and the job is just to make the exchange of goods.
Okay, so at Dutch Brothers, when you pull up, there's someone outside taking your order.
Yes.
And now I'm pulled up to the window. I've already made my selection. I've already paid. Now they just need to give me my drink. But there's someone just sticking half
Okay,
their body out the
okay,
window,
okay.
yapping
Wait.
with me.
Just yeah.
Okay, but that's also kind of the
What is
like,
their job to do?
That's the contract you signed up for when you went to Dutch Bros.
Which is why I don't go there anymore.
Yeah.
But we do go to Bird Call, and we will later today.
That's true. We're taking Tommy to try to.
But I'm
change his
also really
opinion a
old
little.
school, and this is where I'm really gonna probably lose you too, right? It's like and I think not a lot of people agree with this, but part of the reason I like going out to dinner is I like that experience of interacting with someone, like paying for something, right? Not having to do it myself,
Yeah.
right? And being served that food. Like that is a very pleasurable experience to me, right? And I know I'm paying a lot more for that experience than I would at home, but that's what I'm paying for, right? And I don't want to just be like living, it almost feels a little simulation, right?
Dystopian.
Like dystopian where you go and then it just dumps out food, right? Here's your gruel, enjoy your gruel, get
I'm
out.
actually with you. I'm with
You
you.
are?
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
with
really?
you 100%. My boyfriend loves like the order like online
Yeah.
ahead of time, be like, "Hi, here for Dexter," and then just the food, bam. Where I'm like, I want to go through the drive-through and be like, "Hi,
Exactly.
like, how's your
You know,
day?"
I think mine comes from being in the service industry for so long and dealing with people who aren't excited to talk to you.
It depends
So-
on what kind of service
Right.
you're in.
Okay.
But whenever I am a customer at any type of service facility, whether it's for automotive or food or anything, I try to be the least problematic person in their life.
Sure.
And sometimes if there's an automated version, that is me doing that person a favor to where that is one less person they even had to interact with.
It's also one less job.
But again, it's one less person if they have to interact with. If you can just see that they don't want to talk and you just go, "Here's your food."
Yeah.
But some people can't discern that.
Well, I'm not saying they can. I'm just saying that's part of the
But
problem.
I mean, I think it's one thing if you've got like a waiter that's coming by your table at a sit-down restaurant and you're like interacting with them frequently, and they say, "Can I get you another this or that?"
Love that.
Yeah, but
Love
if you're
that.
if you're in the line at Chick-fil-A and you're like, "Which of the 2 chicken sandwiches do you think I should get?" I'm sure they're behind the register
Like, I don't
saying,
care,
"Dude,
man."
have you never been to Chick-fil-A before?
Here's
you
the deal,
know
though.
what you're gonna get."
Sad.
I would argue that Chick-fil-A is kind of counter to your point because Chick-fil-A is a very customer-centered.
Well, yeah, they come by and
recently,
they check on
when's
you.
the last time you went to Chick-fil-A?
We
They're
went
kind
not
of
that
mean
long
these
ago.
days.
Are they kind of mean?
Yeah.
But Chick-fil-A can move a line faster than
Yeah.
any restaurant I've ever been to, and I largely think that's because there's humans in charge and not computers.
Maybe.
They can crank through it. They
But you know
have
what
a
they're not
system.
doing?
What?
Chatting with you.
Some of them. Some of them do.
chat with you. I think
I think
that
they're just kind.
You can be kind without prying for information on your
What
life.
are they asking you for, like, your social? Like, what do they do in Dutch
I'm
Bros?
surprised
How
they haven't
did he
been.
die?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like they're not picking up social cues of like,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk. Like, just give me my, like, if I wanted a sit down coffee, experience, I would go to a sit down coffee place. This is like a drive through experience, which means I want to be in and out. And it's like, I feel like they're forcing you to make it longer by having this conversation
Well-
with a job that is only to have conversations with people.
And
I feel like that's their only
think you're
job.
right. I think you're an introvert. Case, you also might be one of those. Tommy and I.
No one knows what I am.
Tommy and I get like energy from.
We suck.
Like, we get in. What?
We suck energy out of people.
Thank you for clarifying.
We get a lot of energy from like random interactions with strangers, no matter how short, right? So we're not kind of like.
That's true. That's a good point.
Like, we're not like, oh, that was exhausting. I don't want to have to do that again. We're like, that was fun. I hope I get to do that again
See,
sometime.
I like the good interactions, but the bad ones drain me.
I think I just
Yeah.
like bird call.
You're also, I think you're right. And last thing you'll
Case
point.
just likes chicken.
Last thing I'll say, you're forgetting about people like me, old people that struggle
Old
with
people.
technology. That really slows things down when it's automated.
It's true.
Old people are also the
I can help
meanest
you.
to customer service
I'm
people, though.
so
That's
much
true.
older than you.
You-
I'm so
you
much
are
older than
not.
everybody.
You are not.
I am.
But you're not old. I'm talking like ancient.
Elderly
Like
is a
50.
kinder
I
word.
found, you know what I found out?
Brutal.
I am considered a geriatric pregnant woman.
Wow.
Yeah, they said if you are 35 when you have a baby, you're geriatric.
I thought it was like closer to 38 now.
Well, that's not what my OB said to me.
wow.
So I have to start taking baby aspirin because I'm
Oh no.
geriatric.
And
It's
now
so
you can't go
unfair.
order a bird call.
It's so unfair.
Maybe-
So I'm old.
Solution: young person line, geriatric line.
There you go.
No,
That
I
would
just
be.
think,
That's perfect. I
I
like
think
it,
that
Tom.
what they're doing is a mix, right? If you want human interaction, don't go to the place that has only touchscreens.
Yeah. And then when you call up your, because I'm pointing at you because I'm grumpy with you. When you call up your health insurance and have an issue and have to deal with the computer, you can thank Bird Call.
Yeah,
That is
it's
already
bird call's
happening.
fault.
It is happening. I had an issue with insurance. I had to change a name. It was a spelling issue. Submitted it. I went through the automated system. 2 months later, nothing happened. Filed a submission with the ticket. Oh, we'll look into it. Said the computer, nothing happened. Called them back. Just screamed operator into the phone for about 35 minutes.
Like,
Got
I want to
hold
talk
of
to a real
someone.
person. Yeah.
Fix the problem 2 minutes flat.
Yeah.
So I will say there are certain situations
Yeah.
where I prefer to talk to a human, but
sure.
it's the quick. I don't need a human. I'm just ordering
Yeah.
coffee.
I don't want to go to
I
a
don't
restaurant and
need
have
that.
like a drone drop my food off or anything. You know,
Yeah.
There's like limitations.
There are times
Comes
where
out
I
of a
do
tube in
want,
your mouth.
Yeah.
more service or customer interaction, but there are times where it's simply not needed.
I
And
think you're
that's-
right in that Dutch Bros overdoes it.
Yes.
That they do overdo it.
Yeah,
Thank
they do
you.
it a little too
Have you
much.
been to Ziggy's Coffee?
Yeah.
Ziggy's Coffee is like a toned down Dutch Bros.
Yeah. Except you know what I don't like?
Oh my God. What?
I don't like the mocha covered coffee bean they put on top of your lid every time.
Yeah, because it like rolls around and it's
Yeah,
gonna fall.
the first time I had it, I was like, oh, piece of chocolate, and then I was like, that's a coffee bean. Didn't want
Coffee
that.
and chocolate is like
Kind of.
But I just didn't want to eat a coffee bean.
That's a vol.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's the only problem.
So
I
they
have with
didn't tell
Ziggy's.
you it was a coffee bean?
No, I figured that out.
So you wanted more
differently.
communication, which you would get through.
Talking.
Oh, don't even. Don't even.
Let's move on, everybody,
Moving on.
to our sponsor, the 2007 RAV4.
No.
Greatest car ever made, but also
Not a yeah.
O'Sullivan Law and our buddy Scott.
RAV4 is not our sponsor. We have an actual sponsor.
We do.
No offense.
No, that's okay.
It's the 2008 RAV4. No,
No.
it's Scott O'Sullivan with O'Sullivan Law. If you guys are ever in a vehicle-related incident, Scott O'Sullivan is the guy to call. Scott, I know, would be on my side with customer service because he has the best customer service in the industry.
Scott, please let us know if you watch this episode.
Yes,
if you're-
please comment below if we're talking to actual humans or if it's a computer. No, I know it's a human because plenty of folks at TFL have used Scott's services, and he is just the greatest. He's awesome, awesome, awesome. So if you're ever involved in anything vehicle related and you need legal representation, Scott O'Sullivan and
Yeah, Rider Justice, if you're on a motorcycle, they're all organizations of his. So make sure you call Scott first.
also a car person.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. He's a big car guy.
Got some cool
Trustworthy.
stuff. Yeah.
Car
Toyota
person
knows what he's
driver.
doing.
He has a
Trustworthy.
Tacoma, doesn't he?
He does have a Tacoma.
This
But
video is brought to you by Scott's 2024 Tacoma.
It's probably a little older than that. I
Yeah.
think he's had it for a little while.
Anyway, thank you, Scott, for sponsoring specifically car trivia.
Car trivia, which is now beginning.
Oh boy.
All right, we got 15 questions, kids. Jen is back. She was on hiatus last episode.
Which is the only reason that she didn't win.
Jen, guess who won
She
trivia
wasn't
last
here.
week?
I think I heard it was Case, right?
I
was
forgot.
it you?
I don't remember either.
I
Actually,
don't
it
even
should
know
be
who it
in
was.
this notebook. Hold on.
I think I
I
won.
think Case won. Yeah, it was a ringer, though. We were
Did I?
neck and neck.
Yeah,
Oh,
Case won by
wow.
1.
You don't remember, Cole? You're our producer.
Okay, so we got Tommy, Case, and Jan.
Jan.
You two are on something today.
Jan.
All right, are we ready, guys?
We're ready.
Okay. The Birkin Motor Car Company is from which Southern Hemisphere country?
That's South Africa.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh wow.
Well, South Africa makes cars.
What do you know about the Birkin Motor Car Company?
Well, it's a guess.
Okay.
She's just good at what she does.
Apparently.
What were you going to say?
I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to say like Argentina. I don't know. I was trying to think of countries.
Oh.
Oh, they rebody Lotus
Caterham
7s.
7?
I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I'm like, it's probably not Nigeria. It's probably not Chile.
Oh, so you're just
I-
thinking of like all the countries in South
Yeah,
America.
I'm thinking like the most
South
popular.
America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Number
Yeah.
2.
Number 2.
The Silhouette minivan and the Alero compact were the last cars produced under what former General Motors brand?
Oldsmobile.
Told you it was in the trivia.
That was good. By the way, just a terrible name for a car.
Oldsmobile.
Oldsmobile.
Yeah,
You'd
that's
think
really
that'd
bad.
be
Yeah.
your type of
I
car
do.
company,
That's
though.
true. Actually, like a good Oldsmobile.
You're the one who brought it up. Okay, ready, guys? A sleek black convertible known as the Regalia is the car. No, boy, this is a name. Noctis Lucius Calum and his friends used to travel across Eos in the 15th installment of what alliterative video game franchise?
Oh my gosh.
Gran Turismo?
No.
That's not alliterative.
I just have no idea.
Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail. You have died from dysentery.
They use horse-drawn carriages.
They do.
I don't know.
all up to you,
Yeah,
buddy.
this is so confusing.
Starts with an
could
F.
Could you repeat it?
A sleek black convertible known as the Regalia is the car Noctis Lucius Calum, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, and his friends used to travel across Eos in the 15th installment of what alliterative video game franchise? If nobody knows it, I'm going to ask Cole.
I have no idea.
All right.
I think they had a Fast and Furious video game, didn't they, at some point?
Cole, who is it?
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy
Fantasy.
is
Oh,
the
yeah.
answer.
Put
I'm
Cole
going
on
to
the
give Cole a little.
Cole.
Cole.
Cole is tied up for first.
Okay. Claiming speeds of over 300 miles per hour, what automaker's Venom F5 Roadster
Hennessy.
nice,
Case was fast.
Henny.
That was good.
may well be the fastest car in the world as of 2023. Okay, after 32 years climbing the ladder to lead Ford, Lee Iacocca turned around what struggling automaker in just 4 years?
Chrysler.
Nice, Tommy.
That was good. Good.
With what car?
K-car?
The K car. Which
Anyway.
was the basis for the world's first minivan. Which he pitched to Ford, and Ford was like, no, that doesn't sound like that would work.
Lies.
Lies.
what they know.
Jokes on Ford.
I have one other thing to say about minivans really quick.
What you got?
Why are they called mini? They're huge.
Well, because they were
Big
small.
as a
Really?
regular van.
So imagine the minivan doesn't exist, right?
Okay,
All you
wait,
have is
hold on.
like
The big conversion vans.
all you have is like the big box vans.
Okay.
And like these really ugly conversion vans. And then a small van comes out. And you're like, kind of mini.
Lower to the ground.
Got it.
and, yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. Before it became one of the most iconic car makers of all time, what Japanese company made automatic looms?
Oh, Toyota.
Nice. Known for
Glad
its
I didn't get that
multi-story
Case.
known for its multi-story auto vending machines, what Arizona-based online retailer?
Oh,
Carvana.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jen.
It's okay. That's
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vending machines.
Retailer's name is a combo of a type of automobile and a concept from Buddhism.
Really?
Nirvana.
Nirvana.
Oh, wow.
That's funny because they really kind of screwed over a lot of people, didn't they?
It's not very peaceful.
Not very peaceful.
No.
What tech giant is behind Waymo?
Oh man, it's
Google. Right?
Google.
Yeah, it's Google.
That was good. Jen really keeps up with the news.
I'm tied with Cole.
For last.
What famous filmmaker behind Patton and The Godfather received his middle name because of the car company that sponsored the radio show where
Francis
his
Ford Coppola.
father worked? Well done, Kate.
Really?
Nice,
Francis
look at
Ford
you.
Copland.
Yeah,
Coppola.
I do like movies.
Coppola. Sorry, Copeland.
Not Capicola.
Capicola.
Gabagool.
Oh my God.
Gabagool.
Tell us about Gabagool.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Not just from The Office?
No, Gabagool.
What
Gabagool.
type
top,
of
I said it
medium is it?
Medium?
Yeah, like is it a soup? Is it a hard?
it's like I think it's air dried pork.
Oh.
No, but
it's
Case
like
told me
not-
that
I thought it-
gabagool is just like a really mobster way to say capicola.
Yeah.
So like gabagool.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, so if you go to the store and you see like Copa or Capicola,
I-
that's
That's gabagool.
Gabagool.
always thought gabagool was going to be like some sort of soup.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it sounds like
Wow,
it.
'cause
But isn't that
it's
funny
like
where it's like
ghoul.
capicola, gabagool?
Gabagool.
Wow.
They don't say that like,
Italian.
Tony Soprano.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh,
okay.
there he is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's such a good show. If you haven't seen Sopranos, you got to. Look, that picture on the left is incredible, where Tony Soprano is mid-bite,
Oh boy.
and there's just Gabagool all around.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. And they
I
got
didn't know
Uncle
that was
June.
Oh, is the
Oh, man.
Soprano? That's a name? The Sopranos?
I have to admit,
Yeah.
I have to admit I've never seen a single episode.
Me
It's-
neither,
it's
but I know
actually
the
a really
E-Class
good
is
show.
in that show.
The E-Class you were just driving. Lucky you.
All right, here we go. What?
Carmela Soprano drove a E-Class wagon just like he was cold, looked confused. Don't worry about me.
Okay. What hydrocarbon, whose molecules have 8 carbon atoms, is added to gasoline to prevent engine knock?
Ooh, this is a good one.
What? Chemistry?
What?
Which
Saying
hydrocarbon
what weird.
with 8
What am I
atoms?
saying? What way?
What hydrocarbon, whose molecules have 8 carbon atoms, is added to gasoline to prevent engine knock?
Gasoline.
Ooh.
You're close.
You know the number of hydrocarbons I have memorized
minimal.
is forgotten a lot of my.
What is that prevents? It's what the octane is.
It's like a.
Octane. I just put that together. Oct is 8.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's octane.
Oh,
it?
wow.
Yeah, well done, Tommy.
Crazy.
Tommy, that was
Yeah.
great.
It's really good.
Oct, yeah. That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Pixar movie Cars, Tommy's favorite film,
Gearing up for this one.
debuted in 2006 at Lowe's Motor Speedway, a legendary NASCAR track home to the Coca-Cola 500. In what state?
Lowe's Motor Speedway, South Carolina.
It's on the East Coast,
North
right?
Carolina.
Yeah, it'd be definitely. You.
It's North Carolina.
You can't start listing states until
None of you said anything.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's.
Tommy,
Dang.
you're
Thank
up
you.
by
Yeah.
a lot right
I'm up
now.
by a lot. Cole is in last place, but he's also not part of the podcast, so maybe that's okay.
Okay, the Durango, Charger, and Neon are just a few vehicles made by which Stellantis brand?
Dodge.
Oh, that was
That's a tie, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What are we doing?
I don't know. Should I give him both the
okay.
point?
What other brand? Tiebreaker.
Okay.
What other brand built the Neon?
Plymouth.
There you go.
Good job,
What?
Jan. My
My neon
tiebreaker
history
question
lacking.
is who is Kelly from Kelly Blue Book?
Do you have the answer? Oh.
I was hoping one of you would.
We got to talk to Lynn about that.
Yeah, we do. Okay. Founded in 2004, Zenvo is a sports car manufacturer from which European country?
Where are they from?
Oh, the Netherlands.
More specific.
Oh, Scandinavia.
No. Any guesses?
Sweden.
Okay, you're done guessing.
Yeah, you just keep naming places.
South Carolina.
Man, European country. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Founded in 2004, Zenvo is a sports car manufacturer from which European country?
I'm surprised I don't remember this because I was shopping for a Zenvo back when they came out.
When you were 7.
Yeah.
All right.
Switzerland?
Germany.
Okay, cool. Cole? Denmark.
Cole is tied with me.
What?
This is terrible.
How did you know that?
Well, I did say Scandinavian country, and she said more specific.
That's true.
And then you guessed Germany.
Yeah. Well, I thought you said Netherlands, and she said more specific. I don't know.
Good one, Cole.
Good one, Cole.
I'm
Sounds
barely
good.
Cole's
impressed.
tied for last with Case.
Okay, here we go. What U.S. state in 1875 offered a prize of $10,000 to the first resident who would create a vehicle that could cheaply replace horses and other animals? This led to the first city to city car race in the U.S.? Which state?
Michigan?
Connecticut.
New York.
All right, Cole, you got a guess?
Pennsylvania.
Wisconsin is the correct
Oh,
answer.
no one
Wisconsin.
got it.
Who knew that was even a state back then?
In 1875.
Yeah.
It's a while ago. According to J.D. Power, the world's fastest production car is the Jesko Absolute by, oh boy.
Koenigsegg.
And I can spell it again if we need to.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
From what Scandinavian country?
Sweden.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, do we both want a point?
You want to give us a tiebreaker?
Let's see who can spell
Oh.
Koenigsegg fast.
Oh yeah.
Fastest.
Oh goodness. Who can do it?
Koenigsegg.
Oh
God.
Well, that's not fair. He didn't even
He
know
said he
exactly.
knew how to
I think
do
I
it.
did that the last podcast.
Gosh.
Do we want a tiebreaker?
Give it no,
Sure.
give it to Casey.
Yeah,
Fine.
Case,
No,
you're
well,
struggling, buddy.
Pity
You
point.
got to
Yeah.
beat the person not
I'm
playing.
beating Cole.
Oh, that's it. Tommy, you won!
Wow.
Oh my gosh! Tommy had 5, Case had 3, Jen had 4, and Cole had 2.
Good job, Cole.
Good job, Cole.
Yeah.
Best
Wow.
Cole has ever done.
Wow.
Cole, how far have we been podcasting?
How long?
Exactly an hour.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're going to go through Grind My Gears.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I
I
love
haven't
it.
thought of it.
Do you have a good one, Mary?
I do have a good one.
You want to start?
Yeah, okay. My grind my gears is fire alarms.
Oh, good one.
Oh goodness.
So it's not necessarily the fact that fire alarms exist. I think that's important to like have a loud thing to let the building know to evacuate. What grinds my gears is that when there's not an established safety plan when you go somewhere new. Like, guys, have you ever thought about what happens if the airport fire alarm goes off? Where do you go?
Start kicking the windows.
That's a good question, actually.
Think about the Denver airport where you have to take like shuttles to
Ooh,
get back to like
trains,
the
yeah.
exit. You're dying in the Denver airport.
Another person dead on a train.
I'm assuming there's
Did we
gotta
tell you
be
this?
fire
When
exits,
Jen and I
right?
were in Georgia, the fire alarm went
Savannah.
off at 2 in the morning.
What?
Yeah.
In the hotel?
In the hotel, fire alarm went off at 2 in the morning, and Jen and I had to share a room due to whatever.
Monetary constraints.
Monetary constraints. So Jen and I are sharing a room, and the fire alarm goes off, and I swear to God, I would not have woken up if Jen had not.
I rose from the dead.
This is
And
still
I was
something we
like,
say.
Mary, oh my God.
She goes, oh my God, Mary. And I like turned around. I was like, what? And she was like, I think we gotta go.
Mary thought the alarm was my phone alarm, as if I'm some awful person that would make their phone alarm so loud to sound like a fire alarm.
and to
Well-
also flash the lights in the
Right.
hotel.
So did you guys?
She's like a flashlight.
Did you evacuate?
Yeah, so we got up. We like got, normal clothes on.
Half the people evacuated.
Yeah, so the next morning, everybody was like, did you leave last night? And a lot of people were like, nah. Because it turned off after like 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So, but there were fire trucks outside and people were in
Scary.
the hallway.
But then
Seems-
also 2 days later, when we were at the Savannah airport,
Sorry.
fire alarm went off again.
Savannah.
Savannah.
Yeah, so then
Savannah.
we're in the airport and I went to the bathroom and she's like at our gate and the fire alarm goes off and I text her and I go, there's just simply no way.
And I text her, I'm like, oh my God, Mary.
But what happened? It was a test. So
Leave me
I
perish.
didn't hear it because I was in the bathroom. But there was like an announcement that said, "Hey, we're about to run the fire alarm for a while. Don't panic. Nobody move." So like the fire alarm starts going off, and I'm peeing, and I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
And you didn't hear the test?
No, I didn't hear the announcement that it was a test. But like nobody else seemed to be worried. Everybody else was just very calmly going about the airport. So I was like, what is going on? So I text Jen, I'm like, what's happening? And she goes, it's a test. And I
Mary
was
leaves
like,
the bathroom, pants off.
sprinting down.
It's just peeing.
Ew. Like really utilizing like the moving walkways.
So I would argue, in the hotel, they give you that little chart as what to do when the fire alarm goes off.
That's true.
Who's reading that in a moment of crisis?
Yeah, that's true.
So what's your solution for like the airport?
I don't have a solution. I'm just saying it annoys me that
Just
it's
a
just
problem.
like, because think about it. In elementary school, dude, that was
practice.
drill.
Day one.
Yeah,
Yep,
like
yep.
you knew where the lines went. You knew how to be quiet. There was a
Walked.
lot
Yep.
of practice.
So we go into bird call today. Mary's like, where are the fire escapes?
Just like know
What's the
your
protocol?
exits.
I need direction.
Have an exit buddy.
Oh, actually, so
Okay, so signs, the tarmac.
Nice.
so Cole does bring up a good.
They
There
got
are
fire
signs
trucks
we
out
could
there.
probably pay attention to.
Forgot about signs.
So we just have to be observant. Got it.
We forgot signs in the
Forgot about
emergency
signs.
exit.
Also, why are the emergency exit signs not red?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Green for go.
So my grind my gears is equally as important. I have an issue with any gosh darn company that builds anything anymore that is not dishwasher safe.
That's a good one.
That is an
What about
absurd
like
thing.
artisan?
Artisan?
Well, you better not be putting like your nice knives and stuff in there.
If you're
You know
not
what I mean?
good
You gotta
enough,
hand wash them.
why?
Yeah, and they're easy
You
to
gotta
wash.
hand wash them.
You gotta hand wash knives.
Why?
So they don't dull.
But why?
So you can cut stuff.
Build a better knife. Why should a knife dull with some water being thrown
It's
on
not
it?
about the water, Tommy. It's
Only
about the heat.
Damascus knives for Tommy.
No, I'm serious, guys. We can drive a car through any possible weather ever. And I can't put a knife in a dishwasher.
can.
Your
It's
car
just
is
not a
just
good
getting
idea.
duller.
Can't bring a Tesla through a car wash without getting water inside. So
Is that real?
yeah.
Oh no.
No, but really, think about this. You're telling me in 2025, we do not have the capability to build a knife that can't go through a dishwasher. That's absurd.
Is it just knives or is it anything?
Well,
anything.
okay. What if you have a cashmere sweater?
Well, I'm not putting that in the dishwasher.
But you're gonna put it. Are you gonna put it in the washing machine?
If you are claiming to be an artisan, build art that can withstand a washing machine.
You can't build different materials.
But you can infuse it with better materials.
No, you can't.
Or
But now it's not pure.
Or
You can't infuse cashmere with.
well, make it tighter. Make
That's
the cashmere
not the
tighter.
problem, Tommy.
You know what? Okay, cashmere, dumb material, doesn't need to exist.
It's so soft though.
Everything else can go through the dishwasher. Guys, we're talking about steel or aluminum knives. We can build an airplane, but not a knife that can't survive some soap and water.
Look, Tommy, you can put whatever you want in your
What,
dishwasher.
what do they do at restaurants?
Clean them by hand.
Yeah.
Do they really?
A lot of
Yeah.
restaurants do. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
insane to me.
They have
Have you ever worked
busboys
in a
and-
restaurant?
No.
and washers. Yeah, that's like a whole
you ever
job.
seen a kitchen?
But genuinely, you don't think about that? Like, you don't look at your knife and like, why can't I put this in the
I don't have a dishwasher, so
You're
I
the
have-
dishwasher.
I have no
She is
choice.
the dishwasher.
I am the
You.
dishwasher.
So is blue.
You don't think that knives should go through dishwashers?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It makes me think of those infomercials back in the day where like you need a knife. What you're looking for is a knife with NASA technology that gets pitched to you in a really loud voice.
NASA.
Tommy sees that ad
And he'd fall for it.
as an old man,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh,
You tell me
And
I
Flex.
do need that.
He's like, Morgan, you seen this?
2 for 1,
You're telling me Flex Seal
free
didn't,
shipping."
Flex Seal didn't fix your boat that had the screen door at the bottom?
Three payments of $29.99, Tommy.
Guys, I think this is
Is the knives
genuinely
you're
a
looking
good
for.
question. Same thing with
No, it
like
is. It's
artisan
fair.
pots and pans. Are
Of
you
all the-
kidding me?
Well, that's
Of
because
all
you
the
don't want them to
strange gripes.
fade.
Then make it so it doesn't fade.
But that requires more money, and a lot of people don't have that.
But listen, I would argue that technology, back in the day, planes were very expensive, right? The Wright brothers plane, kind of a big deal. Now planes are getting more affordable. You can fly in Spirit for $39. That technology should
you, though?
No, but that technology should probably trickle down to the masses to where I can put any knife in the dishwasher and just have it be fine.
Just buy like lower quality dishes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think it's
But why is it
interesting.
that the high quality dishes can't go, but the low quality can? If
Because
you
they're
bought an
made with better material.
if you bought an expensive car that wouldn't work in the rain, you'd be pretty bummed about it.
like Tesla owners.
I think it's interesting that all of your gripes are within the kitchen.
Yeah, 'cause
It's just we haven't
toasters.
graduated to the
Every
bathroom
week.
yet. That's just
there is
coming.
a
every
social
single week.
commentary there, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Think about it.
We got to keep Tommy out of the kitchen. You must just like get really upset.
What's the social
There's
commentary?
social
that's-
commentary.
that's his whole point.
There is
Yeah.
an incorrect establishment that women spend more time in kitchen. And would you agree that historically, things that tailor to women are underdeveloped, like medicines,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, for
This
sure.
is kind of an extension of that.
Clothes without pockets.
Maybe.
Oh
Crazy.
wow, you get it.
Clothes without pockets?
He gets it.
Absurd.
Do you know that women don't have like deep pockets so that they buy purses?
Is that true?
The funny thing
It's so
too
messed
is
up.
when like a pair of jeans or something has
fake.
a fake pocket.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Hilarious.
women's knives can't go through dishwasher, so you buy sinks. Figured it out.
wow.
It's Big Sink that's
big
responsible.
sink.
For sure.
Big sink.
All right, that's a
Okay.
reasonable gripe.
Speaking of sinks, this actually is a transition. My grinds my gears is when you have a faucet that is so short that you have to touch the edge of the sink to wash
Oh
your hands.
yeah.
It drives me nuts.
You mean like the bathrooms here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
You don't
also
wanna-
that.
We need to
but
fix that.
Touching
It,
sinks is gross.
it makes me feel like my hands are getting dirtier.
Do you ever
Like, I hate
just-
it.
Maybe just don't touch the actual sink and just kind of go.
It's like those
It's
water
just-
fountains
how
as
do
a
you do it
kid that
again?
had like the water squirt that would just trickle over the
Oh
edge of the
yeah,
fountain.
and now you have to like lay your face into the metal of the water fountain.
I knew a
It's just
kid that
awful.
would
Oh my
stick
God.
the
It's
whole
awful.
metal fountain in his mouth.
Oh my
Put
god.
the
that's,
whole thing
That's
in
rough.
his
Like Parks and Rec.
Yes,
Yeah.
No, yes.
That's real. That's a great
That
one.
is a
Yeah,
really good
oh,
one.
it-
It's
it-
just bad like designing.
I don't like it.
I went to a sushi restaurant over the weekend and they had beautiful sinks, beautiful bathrooms. But the problem was they were automatic. So you would put your hand down there and it was like this row of stones. Like, and then like but the water
Fancy.
came shooting out and it hit all the stones and then it just splashed on your face. I was like, what about this is luxury? What about this makes me feel
A fine mist.
Yeah.
Now you know what it's like being a man in a urinal.
Gross,
Oh,
Tommy.
No.
No, it's the wrong way. That would be if someone's pissing towards you
How are you going
and you're
to the
just
bathroom?
there for some reason.
Did you know urinals have like a little fly that they put on the urinal so that you aim at it and it prevents splashback?
That's cool.
No.
Did you know that was
Is that what that's for?
Yeah, you're supposed to aim for the fly. You thought they would just put
Are you
flies?
talking about like a
They
little
put
like
flies in
like
there?
It's
a
a
little
painted fly in the urinal to the point where it avoids splashback the least.
That's absurd.
Why?
Why do you have to be taught how to pee?
No, because urinals are also badly designed to the point where, like, if you don't hit them in the right place and you're peeing hard, it can come back at you. Blue target. They're also blue targets oftentimes.
That's
There you go. Look,
crazy.
there's a little fly. See?
What?
Yeah. You didn't know that was what that was for?
This is a very strange direction this podcast has gone.
You're right, Case. What's your grind my gears?
You know, I was trying to think of one because I didn't prepare one ahead of time because I'm
Unproblematic.
uh,
Easygoing.
just that kind of guy. Ill prepared, I suppose. I'm trying to think if anything grinds my gears, man.
you don't really like the city of Savannah.
Savannah. Well, Savannah's all right.
They make good
it's-
sandwiches.
I don't like most cities, to be fair. But
It's not true.
I like Seattle. Has
We're
good
talking
food.
about what you're not enjoying these
Yeah,
days.
that's true. I'll tell you what I don't enjoy
Seattle.
consistently, and I had to really talk myself through it. For one of the last ski weekends, because it's spring now, I had to go down I-70 for reasons entirely other than skiing, and I started getting frustrated seeing all these people with skis on top of their cars wearing their colorful outfits as I'm driving for 2 hours longer than I needed to be because of all these people. And I had to remind myself, everyone has a right to the mountains and to drive out here. I was like, oh my God, I hate I-70 so much.
I-70 is the east to west highway in Colorado. that
It's
takes you
awful.
to the
Basically, if
mountains.
you live anywhere like around Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, you have to take, it funnels all of us down the same highway.
There's a lot of tunnels, a lot of backups, a lot of
horrible.
crashes.
You know what would
It's-
probably solve that?
I think I-70 is
Trains.
trains.
I mean, I agree with you though, because the I-70 traffic is the worst.
It's
And
really bad.
I think it's the
avoid
worst
it
thing about
altogether.
the state.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Why-
Genuinely, I think
Yeah.
I-70 is I-70 traffic. The highway itself, when it's not trafficked, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a lovely drive when it's
It
just
is.
a free falling.
But I-70 traffic is the worst thing about the state.
I do have a bone to pick with the expansion joint at the bottom of the hill. You know, like when you're leaving Evergreen. So you're leaving Evergreen,
Yeah.
right? It kind of like goes up, and then there's like that steep pass down and that sharp left.
Mm-hmm.
There's an expansion joint on that left that's like mid-turn.
It's right by where that like bar is.
Yes, the bar, the biker
Is
bar.
that Two Bears or what's that?
Yeah.
Cole knows
yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I bet Cole also
Crossing
hates
Clear
it.
Creek. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
That guy.
Cole dropped right on top of it.
Yeah. That was incredible.
Cole is not only like, oh, I think I know the road. He knows the exact joint.
Look,
The
and there's the
exact
bar.
location.
That was insane, Cole.
That
He
was
took the little
coordinates.
Google person and dropped it right on the highway
Wow.
where it needed to
So
be.
if you're not from Colorado, this expansion joint is at the bottom of a mountain pass. You're doing about 75 on a sharp left.
And if you're Tommy, you're in a Jeep.
And if you're in a Jeep, as you likely are, you hit that expansion joint and you wobble about 3 feet to the right every
It's so
single
bad.
time.
It's so bad.
It's really, really bad.
Yeah, that's rough.
So that's my second around my gears. But Case, you're right about the traffic.
I had
Yeah.
a genuine question, and maybe any of you know the answer. How do they make those tunnels through mountains?
Dynamite.
No.
But how does the mountain not collapse in on itself?
Yeah, no, I wondered the same things. And how they did that back in the day, too,
Yeah.
is just incredible.
Well, and also, like, how do you build alternate routes while you're blowing up a mountain?
So your question is about tunnels.
Yeah.
Well, I think.
Mountain tunnels specifically.
I mean, I think the train people back in about 1870 really figured it out. But I mean, really, what happened is they built most of what we consider roads, right? They were train tracks.
Yeah.
So they would dynamite the mountain, and if it fell over, bummer, someone dies or a bunch of people. There's probably more science than that. But then, like, they would convert it to roads, right? And then what's really cool is like Eisenhower Tunnel was built in 1976 or something. And what they did is everybody forever, before Eisenhower Tunnel, had to take Loveland Pass. Imagine that.
No, that's terrible.
For years, you had to just go over Loveland to get anywhere. And then they built Eisenhower
I just don't
Tunnel.
understand how they built the tunnel.
It's really cool. You know, have you ever seen the tunneling trains?
Oh, like with a big drill on it
So
kind of deal?
that's how they build tunnels
What?
sometimes too. Train tracks, and then they build the track as the train goes along, and there's a huge drill on the front of these trains. And the train is like...
Cole's trying to find
it's-
an image.
Yeah, you're doing not a great job,
I
Cole.
feel like it looks like something out of a Batman movie.
Just to like
a
train
villain
tunnel drill.
Yeah.
It's because
thing.
it's Lex Luthor. He had his whole layer in like the tunnel.
Here,
of-
there you go.
Well, same with Batman.
That's real.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
What is
Well,
that?
it looks like
That's a tunnel
clutch.
builder. It
Oh,
goes on the front of a
wow.
train and it grinds away at the mountain. Yeah. and
It's like the Tremors.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And that's how they build
Yeah.
tunnels.
Yeah,
That old Kevin Bacon
graboids.
movie.
I'm blown away right
Graboids,
now.
yeah.
Tommy,
Yeah.
you're the first person to ever actually give a real answer.
Ever on this show. You can actually see one of these in Breckenridge. They have, by the train museum, they have one. It's an amazing piece of
The train
engineering.
museum.
Wow.
Yeah, cool
Tommy, you're
place.
just dropping so much knowledge.
I am.
So you actually don't hate trains.
I don't like new trains, but I'm a big fan of old trains.
Old trains.
I say steam train or no train. I've
Have you
always
been
said
on like
that.
new trains
Always.
anywhere?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of steam trains and bullet trains.
Okay.
It's
I like
the
bullet
middle
trains.
trains I'm not interested in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like CTA.
Diesel, electric, any of
Yeah.
the Europe trains.
That's not true.
What?
The Europe trains are fine.
Yeah, but they're
You
not
get
bullet
everywhere.
trains or steam trains.
Some of them are bullet trains.
Well, they're not the bullet trains.
Not enough of 'em.
They're not fast enough.
They're not your American bullet trains.
What are they
Well,
doing?
we don't
100,
have-
120 mile an hour?
I don't know.
Nah, I'm not interested in that. 200 plus, or I'm not on that train.
Yeah, you like the Japanese bullet trains, right?
Japanese bullet trains are crazy.
I would love to try one of those.
They're actually very anticlimactic. You don't know how fast you're going until you look at the screen. It's like, oh, I'm doing 400 kilometers an hour.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But the problem is that they travel so far, so fast that like you speed up and then you immediately slow down. So you're like, oh, I'm doing 230. Oh, I'm slowing down.
It's kind of like you lose the experience, like in an EV.
That's right. Full circle.
Really onto something.
And if you've made it this far in the podcast, the word you should comment is
Tunnel?
train.
Train.
Train?
Not train.
What do you
Tunnel?
think?
Tunnel?
Tunnel.
we talked about
Tunnel.
tunnels.
We
did
talked
talk
tunnel.
about tunnels.
Tunnel.
Tunnels.
Comment tunnel if you're one of the
Comment
one
tunnel.
person that made it this far.
Yeah, thank you, one person.
And that's our podcast.
Good job, guys.
To bird call.
To Bird Call.
Let's go.
Off we go.